Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. It's the return of the series between me and FPL Kanji. Say hello Kanji.
How's it going, guys?
Nice to see you man once again. Sorry for a little bit of inconsistency here, but I had a lot of videos to record and a lot of outside of FPL work to do, so I wasn't prepared to record weekly, but now with international break we'll have some time to catch up. How's it been going with you, man?
100%. Bro, it's been a tough start to the season to say the least. Like I'm at the 3 million mark. I actually
Oh.
just had my first green arrow, so there is some like optimism, but it's been a tough start to the season. How about you?
Yeah, it's completely the opposite for me. I'm 11,005th in the world currently, and I'm over the moon. So 266 points for me, 202 for you, as I can see on the screen. I'm leading 3-0 though.
Wow,
I don't know how close those weeks were, but with 64
that's
points
crazy.
between us, let's see which week made the big deal. Have you used any of the chips, by the way? I haven't seen your team or
No, no.
something like. Oh no,
Mm,
no, I
no
haven't as
chips.
well.
How about you?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
No chips, and
No,
you're
no.
top like basically 15K.
Yeah. If I've used the triple captaincy in Gameweek 2, I would have been around 1K or something like that. But for now, no chips
That's
currently
crazy.
used. Yeah.
That's
It,
crazy,
it has
bro.
been an
That's amazing.
amazing start for me for sure. I'm over the moon. The team is doing well. The team is doing nice. Yeah. Do you want to transfer and see how we did in game week 1? And let's start from there
Let's do
because
it.
it's going to be a long journey. So let me zoom out a little bit and let's go. So on the left, guys, you can see Kanji's team. He got 76 points, and on the right, it's my team, 79. So we were pretty close, if I have to say. Only 3 points separated us. So Kanji, walk us through your game week 1 team and what got wrong, what did not, and yeah, let's see what are your thoughts here. You were around
Honestly, like
608k, so that's a good start, if you ask me. Yeah?
yeah, very good start. Very good start. But if only the luck continued, you know. I didn't think Holland would be getting hat tricks like this. If
Okay.
I knew he was gonna start this hot, I would have changed my structure to a Salah plus Holland structure, but I think I may have gotten my structure wrong. But I
Okay.
think looking at like all the different like YouTubers and I just find that like structure didn't really matter. Because like I've seen like only Holland teams do well. I've seen only Salah teams do well, but I think that the differentials I went for in general just haven't returned. Like if we go through my weeks, you'll notice this, but like Bruno, McNeil, Moniz, Eze, they're pretty much blanked every week,
Yeah.
basically. So
Okay.
that's kind of why it's like my Arsenal players have done well, my Liverpool players have done well, but all of my differentials have blanked. So that's kind of what's destroyed my start to the season. But overall, it's been okay. Like I've got the clean sheets in game week 1. I had a strong week, but basically Holland has destroyed me. That's like the theme of it, right?
Yeah. So you did start with 2 Arsenal defenders at the end. You were deliberating that. If I remember correctly, you were on
Yeah.
Guardio, right?
Yes, yeah. So I switched out Vardiol because I just didn't see him getting into attacking positions. I talked to some of my Manchester City friends on Twitter, and they actually recommended that like to avoid Vardiol because Rico Lewis was actually going to get some of the starts in the beginning, and they were right, man. Rico Lewis has actually been playing really advanced.
Yep. What about
Yeah,
McNeil? I didn't know you were going for him. It's a surprise pick for me. I did not know
bro,
that.
that's a bad pick. Yeah, McNeil was a bad pick, bro.
It,
Initially I was debating between Semenyo and McNeil in preseason, if you believe that or not, but I definitely got that decision wrong. I even got my Muniz position wrong. I was looking at João Pedro in that spot, and Armstrong was just straight up a bad pick. And I had him in every single one of my drafts. So like those 3 picks are definitely where I need to spend my transfers going forward.
yeah, so McNeil, Muniz, and Armstrong are the guys worrying you, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes was pretty unlucky not to get a return in game week 1. Like he was so close to scoring. I I do not know how he got away with only 3 points. Like that feels like a robbery. Henderson was a guy that disappointed me a lot, to be fair, in the first week. I did not like how he played and how Pavas played in general, but that goal that got overruled for Eze was just too harsh, man. Like, immediately after that, Mbumu scored and the 7 million midfielder just got downhill from there. Like, Eze goal and it would have been at least 10 points. while next attack wouldn't happen. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you in midfield. My differential in game week 1 did not pay out. Smith Rowe was it? He was so back. Like he was the more of a 8 compared to Andreas, who felt like more of a 10. And I was a little bit worried about him. Henderson as well in goal. Salah paid out massively. Diogo Jota scored a goal, should have scored one more, and it would have been a Trent assist. Like he missed that header, which was pretty bad for me. Isaac with an assist. I thought that this was good in game week 1 because they got to reduce to 10 men pretty early, and he getting an attacking return from that position was so good for me. Havertz, on the other hand, a good differential for me. He was well covering Saka. The same points as Saka for 2 million less. So I feel pretty okay with my Havertz pick. Haaland, yeah, did alright. He got a goal overruled as well in game week 1, and he got a yellow card after overruling that goal. So I felt a little bit unlucky there. And Barco just destroyed my defensive plans completely. There were 0 rumors about him leaving, 0 rumors for him not starting and not even playing, and he just got sent to the shops. I lost a clean sheet there. He was my starting defender instead of Pau Torres, by the way. So I got Eina, Poro, and Barco to start the season with. And he didn't play, and it was a clean sheet against Everton. Most probably a bonus point or 2 because he was going to be so attacking against the Everton side. And he just disappeared off the face of the world. Thankfully, his price is locked, and I didn't lose 0.3 in my 4.0 defender. And the other bad thing for me was the Eina injury. He got subbed off at the 53rd minute. Compared to only 7 more minutes he would have stayed, and it would have been probably a clean sheet and a bonus point. But yeah, those were some unlucky things. So yeah, I was mentioning to you off camera that I felt a little bit unlucky. That's why I felt a little bit unlucky. Starting with 79 points compared to 76, so that week was pretty competitive between the two of us. Like your Arsenal clean sheet.
We both did well.
Yeah, we both did amazingly well. Like top million rank in the world in the first week is like a blessing. Everyone using chips, free hits, not free hits, bench boost. Some of them using triple captains. Yeah, it's like a lot of chips being played and being around that. It was good, but yeah, I felt pretty unlucky. Eze overruled, Eina 53rd minute, Barco did not play, Jota missed a sitter. Compared to you, Bruno did not score. Trent should have gotten an assist, most probably. Eze didn't score. Muniz had a chance. So I think we were pretty unlucky, to be fair, even though we started well. But let's move to game week 2, because game week 1 was pretty equal, if you ask me. So let's see game week 2. Okay, here I see 54 points compared to my 89. So here is where the difference is coming. Yeah, walk me through what happened in game week 2. You put Armstrong in compared to McNeil.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like this is just like the theme is basically like my Arsenal and Liverpool players are returning, but everyone else is not. Very simple team. So like Bruno, Eze, Armstrong, Isak, Muniz, they're pretty much all blanking. And so that's why I've just had a very poor start to the season. Like I'm comfortable in my structure, but it's just a similar theme. And so I just need to spend my transfers to fix those spots.
Okay. What do you feel about Armstrong? He played okay in game week 1, but it was 10 men against Newcastle. Then in game week 2, he kinda disappeared. Like nothing happened from him. I was expecting way more, to be fair, against Forest.
Yeah, same. Southampton just feel like a level below all of the Premier League teams. Like I think Leicester and Southampton feel like the worst teams, and I'm not sure I want to own any players from them at any point in the season.
Yeah. Leicester at least are scoring, while Southampton are just avoiding anything. Like they had pretty good data for the first game. For the second, not so much, but still, at least a goal should have been scored. They scored against Brentford at the end game week 3, but it was a 95th minute or something, like a consolation goal. But they just seem to avoid scoring, in my opinion.
Yeah, Southampton's just not a good team at this point. They're not Premier League ready. Like Armstrong's a bad pick. Like he needs to go ASAP. He got a halftime sub last week as well, so he's out of my team soon.
Yeah. How did you feel about the Arsenal Aston Villa game? Did you felt worried about the clean sheet at some point.
Bro, I remember there was one pass from Rodgers to Watkins. He had like a clear shot right on goal, and then he missed the target. I
Yeah,
couldn't believe my eyes, bro. Like last year,
yeah,
he would have buried that. And there was another one where it's like Watkins had a header. He just headed it right at David Raya. It was like a double save. And Raya came up really clutch for me in game week 2.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I felt pretty unlucky there as well. Like the differential players against me are Arsenal defense. That is the thing that is hurting my rank almost every time. And a lot of people are on at least one. Some of them, like you, are on a double. And seeing Watkins
Mhm.
missing those two chances in a week where they shouldn't have kept a clean sheet was so frustrating for me.
I get that, but like sometimes in life, like things kind of just work out over the course of
Yeah.
38 weeks. Like they were lucky to keep a clean sheet this week, but then in game week 3, they were unlucky to
Yeah, yeah,
concede
yeah,
against Brighton
exactly.
because of the red card,
I was
right?
going to get there in game week 3. Like, this was the time when I felt lucky because that's why my rank got boosted. To be fair, though, in game week 2, my defense did better than the premium ones. Like, I got Robinson for a 7-pointer, Aina for a 9-pointer, and Pedro Porro got the same returns as the other defender. So, overall, game week 2 was good on the defensive side. Like, a lot of teams kept clean sheets. I feel like I was not expecting that in game week 1 and game week 2. Clean sheets were flying left, right, and center. Everyone was getting them. Like, uh, Spurs got a clean sheet, which is surprising. Arsenal, Liverpool, different teams are getting clean sheets, and I'm like, okay, that's not what I was expecting. Like, this is pretty confusing
Mhm.
for me. I was expecting goals left, right, and center. The extra time now is reduced, by the way. I don't know if you noticed. There are no anymore 11 minutes for the second half, 15 minutes for the second half, 4 minutes, and the game is done. Like, the extra time is just not there. You at least got a solid bench. I'm looking at your team currently, and the bench you've prepared is pretty solid. I quite like that, to be honest. Like, I prepared Pau Torres for the turnaround of Villa fixtures, but you're ready with Leave Davis for the turnaround in game week 3 and Dunk for the turnaround in game week 4. Like, you're already there prepared. I'm quite interested to see, are you going to bench Saliba and Gabriel in game week 4 to play Davis and Dunk?
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah.
Definitely, Dunk is gonna playing against Ipswich at home for sure.
Hmm.
Davis, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we continue onwards with game week 3. So talk us through your team in game
That
week
was a
3.
good point.
You did a transfer here. I see McNeil gone. I see Semenyo in. Is that the only move you made?
Yes. Yes, so that's the only move. Semenyo in. His data was really strong. He picked up more underlying expected goals than Saka and Salah. I mean, Semenyo, I had him in my team last year as a striker, as my differential. So I already know how good he is. Like I've been monitoring him. He's been on my watch list. So I saw him pick up really good positions. I noticed that Bournemouth are basically taking the XG that Solanke had, and it's being split up between multiple players. You have Clivert, Tavernier, Semenyo, all picking up more XG. Even Nielsen is not playing 90 minutes yet, so maybe when he starts and gets the 90s, he'll be sucking up more of the big chances. But for now, it's being spread across multiple players, and Semenyo's playing 90 minutes at 5.5. He's just underpriced.
Yeah, yeah. I thought about him. It was for me, as you can see, I made two transfers. I've sold Poro and I sold Jota. I know that's quite brave, selling my two players that returned in the two games, other than Salah. But still, I felt confident Jota is going to have reduced minutes. And the other thing was I needed Trent, and the money for Trent was going to come from Jota. Realistically, I talked about with you. I know I wanted to sell Jota in game week 3. That was my plan always. I did not know for who. I did not know what I was going to do, but I knew that Jota is a goner. And in order to fit in Trent, I needed to sell Poro. There wasn't any other player that I was able to sell in order to fit in apart from Robinson, but I wanted Robinson in. So yeah, it was between Aina and Poro just was the guy.
I think the move to like Trent was very obvious. Like
Yeah,
selling Poro to Trent is just a very smart move. Like if you're watching the games, you just see Trent pick up the positions that he's been in. It's obvious to be there. He has I think after game week 2, he had more expected goal involvement than Salah and Jota.
Yeah, yeah.
So that tells you all you need to know about how good of an asset he is. What do you think about Trent as like is he just in for now and then you sell him later, or is he like somebody you want to hold for the season?
No, he is going to be my Liverpool player most probably throughout the season, because when game week 6 comes, I want Saka in, and the money are going to come from Salah. Realistically, it's not going to be from anywhere else. But I still want the Liverpool asset, and that Liverpool asset is going to be Trent. I'm seeing several teams in the space for a wildcard not going for Trent, and I'm like, okay, that's the only player that I feel like is a must currently. I don't even think Haaland and Salah are that important for me as much as Trent is, because he's just a cheat
100%.
code.
I
Yeah,
agree with that.
yeah.
How do you feel about that guy from Manchester City, Rico Lewis?
I feel like he is going to become an FPL trap sooner rather than later. UCL is going to start, and Guardiola is famous for those rotations. Rodri is coming back, Foden is coming back, Walker is back, John Stone is back. Those players, Stones especially, Rodri especially, they can make that double pivot that currently Kovacic and Luis are playing. And Walker is Walker. He is, in my opinion, the best right back in history for the Prem. The question is Walker the UCL player, or is Rico Willis the UCL player? And that's a question that I need an answer before jumping on Luis. And
Mhm.
he faces Brentford, Newcastle, and Arsenal in the next 3. So it's not an ideal fixture run for Manchester City's defense. They've conceded against Ipswich and West Ham, so I expect them to concede against those next 3 teams. I like him a lot,
Yep.
to be fair. Like, he is what Guardiola was supposed to be fair. Like, Rick Willis is the cheaper version of Guardiola, and he almost scored 3 goals, but for me, it's not the right time to go on him. I don't know why, but I feel a little bit hesitant. What do you feel about him?
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. I think the first entry point will be in game week 7. This season is going to come down to having and understanding who the good picks are and just having good timing with them. So let's see how things go. Let's see if we notice that Walker starting in the Champions League, and that'll be a green light to just bring Rico Lewis in. Otherwise, he'll just be in a void. So
Yeah.
let's just keep an eye on it.
How do you feel about your team? Do you have a player currently that you regret not owning at the moment?
The 2 players I regret owning, I think, are Muniz and Armstrong. And Semenyo was somebody I considered in preseason, but I didn't think Bournemouth would be as good as they were because Solanke was going to leave. So I thought there would be a massive drop off for them. So I just thought to myself, like, I won't go to Semenyo. I'll just sort of avoid it and let's see how things go. I can always use my transfer. So I ended up getting the green light from my eye test and just bringing Semenyo in. And I think the player that really stood out to me that I missed was Joao Pedro, getting way more minutes than I expected. Also on the penalties for Brighton. I know that he has scored against Man United as well as Arsenal. So I feel like a lot of the casual FPL players would just see the goals and then points and want to bring him in. But he's like the type of player that scored 20 goals for Brighton last year on the penalties. He's getting more minutes than I expected, and I think I have to be selling somebody like Armstrong or Muniz to him in game week 4 for sure.
Do you feel like Pedro at the moment is a little bit lucky? And how do you feel about him scoring a mistake from United's defense, to be fair, in the 95th minute, and the lucky rebound goal against Arsenal? Like, those weren't cut chances for him. What's your opinion about it?
Yeah, well, yes, they were lucky goals, but you have to put yourself in a position to get lucky, right? Where he's priced at 5.5. He scored 20 goals for Brighton last year. He's on the penalties. I only expected him to be playing 60 minutes, but under the new manager, I think he's the number one priority for him. Like him and Matoma feel like they're like the top of the totem pole in terms of just priority for the manager. So I feel like going to Joao Pedro at 5.5, even though he's playing out of position as the cam, even though he's a striker in FPL, I feel like he's a great budget enabler for the long term. And I know the fixtures are kind of mixed. 4 and 5 look great for Brighton, where they're playing against Ipswich and Forest, and from there it doesn't look that great because they play against like Newcastle, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City. But over the longer term, it's a really good player to own at 5.5. So I think I should be selling either Armstrong or Muniz to him in the future.
Hmm. Interesting, because I cannot be further away from Pedro at the moment. Like, I have
Really?
zero interest in him.
Wow.
Like, completely zero interest. I get why his appeal is good. The 90 minutes is just an amazing thing. that cam position did not excite me. Like the goal before the sent off for Arsenal, he was just absent from the pitch. The only thing that he did was to boot that ball 40 yards away from the throw in, and that's what I remembered from him in the first half. But still, I thought long about João Pedro, really. I wanted to bring him in at some point, but currently he's the guy that's going to hurt me if he scores, but I feel like it's not that impressive what he did in game week 2 and 3 in order for me to bring him in. I know that he got 8 points in both games. Like, that's an amazing return nonetheless. But for a 5.5 player. But selling one of my strikers currently, maybe if I was in your position with Muniz and Armstrong, I would be going for Pedro. Like, he's a better option than both of the strikers that you own currently. But for Havertz and Isaac, I realistically, if I don't want to use the wildcard in 6, I'm not selling Havertz. And I feel like Isaac has been unlucky because how bad Newcastle were playing. I don't know what I got such cold feet for Brighton at the moment. I really wanted to like them, but there is something about them that I'm not quite sure that I'll be investing. And maybe the mixed fixtures is apart from that, because yeah, I want someone with a greener fixture run, because if I bring Pedro now, he's not going anywhere until the wild card, and I feel like I prefer to own Isaac until I wild card before compared to Pedro.
If you look at my structure, you'll see that I have like Muniz and Armstrong, and I only need to play one of them. That's why João Pedro fits so well, because I don't have to be relying on him every week. Even Lewis Dunk, because I have such a deep team, I don't need to be playing him even through his more difficult fixtures from game week 6 to 10. I can just bench him. That's why I really liked Brighton, because they have two good fixtures and they're both at home.
Yeah. It's interesting how next 2 weeks every team has 2 home fixtures, and then in game week 6 it's away and then home for the players that were away, and then some teams got a mixed of fixtures. I'm a little bit confused how they're deciding which fixture is at home, which is not. I was expecting home away, home away, home away, home away, and when I was looking at my team in game week 4 and 5, I have 9 players at home both weeks already before making anything. Like, only Isaac and Havertz are away from home, and I'm like, okay, that's strange, but I will manage. In midfield, are you having eye on someone? Palmer and Bumo, pretty popular players that both of us do not own.
Yeah, I think Bumo is a game breaker at 7.0. I definitely have to move to him very soon. I just need to figure out what my route is going to be. I need to decide if I want to bring Holland in or not. I'm still undecided. I know he's looked really sharp, but I want to see what happens when Foden plays. I think when Foden plays, I think Holland won't be scoring as high of a percentage of Man City's goals when he's in the lineup. So I want to see if I'm willing to bet against him with like a Foden, for example. I could do like a Foden plus Mbumo in for Salah and Semenyo. Or I could just go like Palmer instead of Foden as well. And so I could do Palmer and Mbumo there. Or I can just make my planned transfer, which was going to be like Trent, Salah, and Isak to Holland and Bumo, and then a 5.5 defender, which at this point would probably be Rico Lewis, and just bank the extra money. So I have like 2 different transfer plans, but Mbumo is going to be in there 100%. Game week 6, game week 7, he's coming into my team for sure.
Yeah, so you're planning to sell both of the Liverpool assets?
I don't want to do it, bro. I just feel like I'm actually leaning more so towards not bringing Holland in, because I agree with your logic of Trent as a season keeper. But I just think Holland is looking so sharp, like my hands are tied at this point.
Haaland will not keep scoring 3 goals every week. If that's the case, he will end up on 100 goals by the end of the season, which is not a possibility. So, yeah, let's be real. I believe Haaland will slow down, especially against Arsenal, most probably against Newcastle. Those are going to be hard fixtures. And the only reason I'm not selling is I don't know to who, and I don't want him for game week 7. So if I sell in 5 and bring in 7, it's like just activating the wild card in 7. There's no way for me to do that. I will keep him for his bad run initially, but still, if I was on a no Haaland run, I was not going to transfer him in, to be fair.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. I think these are the weeks where I can actually try to climb against Holland owners. Like, I
Yeah,
look at the Brentford fixture and I know Holland's hot, but historically, that's not a good fixture for him.
exactly.
He hasn't scored against Arsenal. He doesn't pick up very much XG against them either.
Yeah,
So I'm comfortable going against him in those 2 weeks. Maybe he can destroy Newcastle, but I'm really happy. I don't think he'll be picking up more than 10 points the next 3 games.
yeah,
But you can clip this and run it back when we
yeah.
meet again.
I feel like no Haaland is the way to go, and it will be too harsh to sell Trent, man. In my opinion, in order to fit in Haaland, to sell Trent for me is like a hard no go, realistically.
It's yeah, bro, same. I think Trent's the best asset in the game.
Yeah,
I don't want to be selling Trent either.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, like, if I'm honest with you, I don't really have a plan to bring Holland in,
Okay.
but let's see how things go.
Yeah. Do you have a plan for a wildcard?
My wildcard is gonna be around game week 18. That's where I
18.
bring Holland back into my team. Yeah,
Okay, that's a lot ahead than me. My plan is to go
yeah.
for game week 8 after Arsenal's fixtures. I think I will know which teams are best in defense to go for them, and the teams would have settled. Like UCL would have started. I will know who is preferred where. Arsenal have 4 bad fixtures, so I might keep maybe their defender only and sell Saka and Havertz. Villa will have a bad turnaround of fixtures. I would most probably want back
Mm.
Salah because I plan to sell him around because I need Saka for the captaincy in the game week 6 and 7. And I
Mhm.
would want to bring him in. Maybe Isaac will go for another established striker, as if he's not performing. Like I think if I do it at the earliest, it will be game week 8. If by any chance Palmer is injured, Salah is not performing, and Saka is the best player currently in the game, I might just hold him and just rely on him to face against Liverpool and to play better. But you are thinking way far ahead, man. That's good.
Before we leave, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about your team. So
Okay.
I'm looking at your squad structure, and I think I don't want to say you've got lucky, but you kind of have. Because like when you went for the defender that you picked, you went for like an Aina, like a Robinson, Pau Torres. I'm not sure if those types of defenders will continue to return, but I think you've picked defenders that have good upside, right? Like Aina has the good upside, Robinson has good upside, and plays for a good defense. So I like them as assets. You may not be as lucky in the future. And I think when I'm looking at your team, my suggestion would be like, don't you think you have to sell Salah soon as well as Smith Rowe and Rogers, given how many good FPL midfielders there are in the game?
So my plan for game week 6 is Salah out for Saka. This is the main thing. Then I will sell Smith Rowe because I do not like how he's performing. I'm giving him the 2 home fixtures that he has in 4 and 5, and after that he's gone. I'm bringing Mbumo into his position. The money will be enough. I already have 0.9 in the bank, so that money from Salah will help me improve to Mbumo, and then I would swap Aina, Pau Torres to Saliba/Gabriel, one of them, and I will have the Arsenal defense for the good run of fixtures. I will have Saka for a captaincy, and I will have Mbumo for his better run of fixtures. As it stays, for me, he is essential currently. Fixtures against United, Leicester, and Everton. In the next 3, I can see him scoring a lot of points. Havertz stays for the run after 6. Haaland stays because he's my captain from 7 up until most probably game week 13 or something like that. It's going to be Haaland like 6 weeks in a row, I see, with good fixtures. Isaac at the moment stays. He can easily go after I bring in my Arsenal players. Robinson stays. I feel like he's a cheat code. Iwobi cuts inside and the left flank is all Robinson. I feel like Robinson is a great pick for me. I'm quite happy with it. I think that he will continue chipping those points. Aina will go, and yeah, Trent is staying. That's the plan. Rogers, I don't mind spending 5 million for him. Like 5 million, he's just there to support the team and just be there. He can chip on a goal or something like that. Last season he got some returns attacking wise when they were not performing really well. So in 3 games, if I get a 1 return from him, I'm more than happy for 5 million currently. So yeah, that will be my plan. Salah, Smith Rowe, and Aina most probably out for Saka, Mbumo, and Saliba/Gabriel, whoever I feel like is doing well.
Yeah, that's a great plan. I think bring in Saka and Bumo and an Arsenal defender. It sort of allows you to maybe even think about not wildcarding.
Yes, exactly. That's the plan. To try and hold the wild card as
Got
much
it.
as possible for a good swing of fixtures, because around game week 11, if I'm not mistaken, on 12, there is a good swing of fixtures where City turn for the worse and Arsenal turn again for the better, because they have 3 hard and then it's 7 easy. I believe Liverpool are back on a good fixture run. Wolves will be a team with a good fixtures because they're playing every good team currently. So yeah, I will try to hold as much as possible.
I think our teams look pretty great. We have completely different structures, but hopefully we'll both end up in the top 100K. It looks so much more likely for you given how great that you've started off. But hopefully I'll get some positive variants coming my way in the future. And thank you so much for having me on. And can't wait to do this again.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, man. I hope that your variants come your way. Your team is good, your plan is good, your structure is nice. You have a solid reason to believe in your team, good wildcard strategy to prolong it. So I believe the returns are coming your way. By the way, guys, if you don't know, I'm with Kanji. I've mentioned it several times. You can just follow the link and give him a subscribe. You can go on his Twitter. He hosts a lot of Twitter spaces and he discusses a lot about FPL. So go and give him a follow there. It will be very much appreciated. If you're not part of the channel and you are not following a guy that is currently in the top 11K, you can give me a subscription as well. It will be very much appreciated. Once again, thank you, Kanji, for joining me. Let's hope in several weeks when we reconnect on that series that we're in a better position, both of us, and we reach that our
100%.
goal in top 100K. Thank you guys for tuning. Thank you, Kanji, for participating, and I will see you soon with more FPL
Take care.
content. But for now, guys, we'll be heading out. Bye.